Hey everybody, in this video we are going to finish up the AWS Control Tower configuration. So in the last video what we did was we went through the whole wizard there for creating AWS Control Tower. Now the one thing I'm going to say is that I attempted to use KMS keys in the last video. So I'm going to put a note on that last video when I post it that we're not going to enable that, because what happened was I was having some permission issues. So eventually, if you go here to optionally configure AWS KMS keys, there is the documentation on what needs to be done. So the KMS key policy needs to be updated to allow it to be used. So that's the problem I was running into. What I did was I just turned off the KMS key, the customer managed keys, for AWS Control Tower. But here's what you would need to do. You would need to add these statements right here, replacing all of these, the management account and all the things in red, I guess. And that would allow you to actually use this correctly. Alright, so let's take a look at what Control Tower created. So Control Tower created two organizational units, and we can see that in AWS Organizations. If we go there, and right now we're in, so I just went to Organizations, AWS Organizations, and we'll just go back there. I'll reload that. And here it is, two OUs. And if we expand these OUs, we see sandbox is empty. And we have the audit and the log archive. So this can be used to put your test accounts in. We also have the management account. You see it's noted as management account. And that is the configuration that it added. So that's the organizational unit that it built. 3 shared accounts. We saw those shared accounts. Let's look back. So those 3 shared accounts are audit, log archive, and Chris org account. All right. And let's go back. A native cloud directory, pre-configured groups, and single sign-on. So let's take a look at that. We'll go in through here. And we'll go to single sign-on, or IAM Identity Center, which is now known as. All right, so we should have, let's see what we have here. And so you can see we have a Identity Center directory. Let's take a look at that, see what it created. So this is what it created. Let's see the groups. It created a bunch of groups here: account factory, service catalog admins, audit account admins, security auditors, control tower admins, log archive, security audit power users, and log archive viewers. So that's what it created. And it created a user and put it in that as Control Tower admin. Did it put it in that group? Let's see. Control Tower admin. Yep, it added it to there. So, okay. Let's go back to Control Tower. And 20 preventative controls to enforce policies and 3 detective controls. So let's take a look at those. And here are the controls that it added. So a bunch of API gateway controls. So to establish logging and monitoring. Amazon CloudFront rules right here. Encrypt data, protect configuration. So these are rules that it will enforce. And you can add your own controls also. So that is pretty nice. Let's go back to our dashboard. And let's take a look. And 3 detective controls. So let's take a look at our detective controls. So right now, no non-compliant resources are found, right? Because there's nothing really in this account. So this is, so detective controls, let's see. Oh, okay, so here, detective controls, establish logging and monitoring. It will check and it will let you know if it's not enabled. So there are actually 362 controls right here. So this is quite a large list. So this is very helpful in making sure you're doing AWS best practices, doing the correct things. Let's take a look here. So that is Control Tower. So now what we can do is we can start creating new accounts from here. So we've got automated setup, policy management dashboard. Let's see, set up and manage a multi-account environment. So this will help us do that. So let's go to our landing zone. And you can see the dashboard, getting started, organization. So getting started, let's take a look at that. Set up a landing zone, we did that. Set up an organization. Let's go to that. So we have our organization created. Let's go back to getting started, customize your controls, and then monitor. So, and all right, let's getting started with account factory customization. So let's create an account here. So we are not signed in as root, so that's good. You cannot create an account if you're signed in as root. You can create 5 accounts at a time. Identity center user email. So this is how we'll create our new accounts. So we're going to create a couple accounts. But the point I want to make though is that when setting up Control Tower, and we did not do it with a customer key in KMS, but you can, and maybe I'll make a video about doing that and setting it up with the correct policies, because I think that's important to get that right. But right now what we'll do is we'll move on with this and start creating new accounts in here, and then start using those accounts and making sure everything looks good. So we've got a log archive and audit, and what we'll do is we're going to change this to use Azure AD instead of the what it created. So that should be fun. So I'd like to thank you for watching. This has been part 2 of setting up AWS Control Tower. So thank you very much. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.